So after our last video covering our current top picks for travel strollers this summer, I wanted to make a short follow-up, going over 3 models that we've looked at recently that we'd actually recommend not getting. And the first of these then is the Nuna TRVL, which, despite a lot of hype and its fancy fold, is much weaker than what is often being shown in the advertising, with its somewhat fragile handle that bends and strains too much when steering, and an Achilles heel in a pair of hinged mechanisms on the handle arms, crucial for the model's folding process, that are constructed more or less entirely of plastic, and built in such a way as to expose a pair of wires to undue wear that could eventually lead to the failure of the entire folding system. On top of this, the model has a rather weak leg rest, the canopy is a bit on the short side, even with its sun flap, the brake system is wire-based and lacks an adjustment screw, making it also prone to have problems as a result of wear, and lastly, the folded dimensions are a bit too large for the IATA's cabin luggage guidelines. And to me then, the model's high price of around $500 is simply too much to pay. And I would note here, by the way, that if you're at all interested in this model due to the automatic fold down, there are other strollers out there that do the same thing, that are both built stronger and can be had for a lower price. The next model that we've looked at recently that I'd recommend skipping is the Cybex Koya, which, despite actually being the best built ultra compact that I've seen from the brand to date, just doesn't manage to bring the design all the way up to the level of performance and comfort needed to justify its platinum price of $550 in my opinion, due to the seat being a bit too sloped in its upright position, the chassis being pretty loose right out of the box, as well as feeling unstable as a result of the model's narrow rear frame. The folding process being somewhat cumbersome versus most competing models, the shopping basket being difficult to access, a lack of suspension in the rear frame, and front wheels that sit a bit too loose in their housings. All that being said, unlike the TRVL, the Koya isn't necessarily a model that I worry too much about in terms of durability. Despite being loose, the components and connection points are sturdily constructed. But the overall execution is sloppy in my opinion, leaving little to base that high price tag on other than the Koya's shiny copper piping. And last up today then is actually another model from Cybex, the Orfeo, which is also included here primarily as a result of price, as, despite having the positives of a decently sized seat, an acceptably rigid chassis, a cabin luggage acceptable fold, and a shoulder strap, many elements on the model seem designed as almost deliberately cheap. In particular, the look and feel of the textiles and harness, the weak canopy that lacks peekaboo windows, ventilation, or any form of extension, having neither a sun flap nor an extra section zipped into the rear, the small and somewhat sagging leg rest, quite plasticky, cheap-feeling tires, no suspension in the back end, corrugated plastic struts instead of metal bars at a key structural point in the center of the chassis, a tedious need to velcro up the back of the seat when folding, and a somewhat awkward to access and wear-prone brake system, all of which just lead to a dime store, low quality, discount price feel in my opinion, which would have been fine if it had actually been cheap. But unfortunately, $400 without any sort of included accessories puts it more in the premium class, and there are simply many better choices out there. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, as this sort of support helps us to continue making videos in the future. If you'd like to know more about any of these models, we have standalone reviews for all of them that go into a lot more detail, and links have been added in the description. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description as well. Thank you.